Hello, this is Jillibling. How are you today? I have a project using blends and rubbing alcohol, isopropyl alcohol. And everyone is doing it, so I'm being a fast follower, and it's a lot of fun. Okay, what do you think? Isn't that pretty? So the technique is using kind of making this background. Isn't that pretty? And one hint, I purposely left this incomplete. One hint is the vellum, once it gets wet, it kind of curls. So I put glue dots to hold it in place. Can you see this gap right here? And that held it down, but all the sides were curling up just like this. So eventually I ran through with my liquid glue and put it right here on the edge, and then held it down, and it worked just fine. So I guess moral of the story, use your liquid glue. But pretty. This one I went crazy coloring the inside. So note to self, if you stamp a lot, you have lots of coloring to do. This is the second one I did. Not so much coloring. I don't know what I'm going to do on the third one. I really like this leaf. Okay, a few bling, a little bit of ribbon. Batik? Batik. I think that's how you say it. I've been schooled. I did another card using this set, this flower, and I didn't know how to pronounce this. Tony was saying Batik. And I'm like, I don't think that's it. And then, once again, many messages and many happenings, which all fit into one die. I'll show you that in a minute. Oh, so the die sets are, oh, One Happy Family, just a standard stamp set. Batik dies, messages dies, that's the big one that cuts out all the words. And then Stitch So Sweetly for the frame, this frame right here. Okay, so I have all these markers sitting out. I have a bit of a plan going on. Oh, alcohol, I got this on Amazon, and you want to get minimum 91%. If you get a higher content, I guess the process works a little bit easier. 91% works perfectly. What you get in the grocery store is generally 70%. So you have to look a bit harder. Maybe yours has 91, 90, but that does matter. So they say, I haven't tried it otherwise. I just believed what they said, ordered it on Amazon last week when I saw everyone doing it, and here we are today. Okay, I also have a little tub to put alcohol in, and I will be using a aqua painter. That's a lid, and a little straw. One straw I cut into 3 pieces, but I have further words on this. Just because the alcohol markers, not that anyone is sensitive when you're working with alcohol markers, some people are. Alcohol markers, mix it with alcohol, and you could kind of move around the color with a straw and kind of blowing through it. But when you get your face this close, yeah, not good. Okay, so let's get started. This is so much fun. I kept on wanting to make more and more of the, I don't know what people are calling this. The alcohol and blends technique background. Look how pretty this one turned out. Oh, and so for these colors I used Granite Dark, Crumb Dark, Papaya Dark to get this. These I used Black, Light, Slate Dark, and Spray Dark. So this one is a little bit more of the warmer tones, kind of more like granite, and this one is more like marble. And I'm sure marble and granite come in both the different colors, but that's just what my mind says. So when I was thinking, what should I do for this one, I'm thinking, what other color background would I want to do? And I didn't want to make it too loud and too crazy with colors, because that would take away from the beautiful flower. So for the one we're doing today, I have Mossy Meadow, Granite Gray, and Crumb Cake. So it's going to have more of a green tone. I think that would be calm behind it. And I do have a sample when I went crazy with colors. I have all these notes. All these notes matter. Here's my crazy one. And it was fun. And it makes a great background. But I think putting the flower on here, it kind of gets lost. Versus if the flower was on here, it's a little bit calmer, so the flower is what stands out. So I was coloring these. That one turned out pretty, but I think it's too crazy on colors. So these colors are Moonlight Dark, Peacock Dark, Jade Dark, Apple Dark. And as people suggested that we're doing tutorials on this, use the darker color, because when you put the alcohol on it, it kind of spreads the color, and if it's light color, it gets a bit lost. So the darker color works a little bit better. Okay, so these are these colors. Oh, and you can see how this curls. That's not going to lay on a paper very good. And if possible, put a piece of white. Well, let me try it. I'm saying put a piece of white behind it to accentuate the technique, because if you put dark behind it, well, in its own way, that's kind of pretty. But I think it stands out better with the light behind it. Okay, so these are these colors. That, just saying, don't do all of them different colors. It doesn't work out. When doing two-step stamping, which has, let me find the box, an outline or just two different parts to it. For instance, the outline and then the detail. And for the leaves, the outline and the detail. For this set, I found it best to do the detail stamp first and then the outline stamp second. And they're so close you could almost miss that you stamped the outline, the second part of it. But when you're doing the leaves, you get the little stem right in the middle, which is nice. And this one, when you stamp it, it gives you the shape of these little flower pieces right here, the outside shape part. So both steps are necessary. Okay, what else over here? So I tried this technique on glossy paper. Doesn't work, not at all. I tried it on shimmery white. Doesn't work. So, just as an FYI, no need to try it. It doesn't work. We'll be using the gold ribbon. Very pretty. Fine art ribbon. I want to do the vellum. So this is paper vellum from Stampin' Up. If you don't get paper vellum, which other places have, it's not as thick. See how thick that is? That's nice. Okay, so to get started, I'm going to use just the dark of my blends, because that worked in the past. And using the brush tip, just apply color wherever you like it. And you can add color after it dries, but just thinking what the end effect looks like, which is right here. You could say I put some of the black there, crumb cake over here, but you just want a little bit of color represented everywhere. Okay, so that was Mossy Dark. This is Granite. And the once you put the alcohol on here, the color, the pigment in these blends markers, it's very movable, so you don't need to go to the edge. You can if you want, but beware, because it might mess up your marker tip going up and over these edges if you keep doing that. Granite. And, okay, see, I was smelling that alcohol. It doesn't bother me. I know some people that it really bothers them. Good enough. Plenty of color on there. So now, here is my alcohol. Just going to take one of these, and it took me a minute to figure out how to open this, but you have to kind of push down on this one. I'd say get it not in a sprayer. Oh my gosh, what if I can't open it? Okay. Oh, it's opening. And put just a little bit in here. That's just enough to cover up the bottom track there. I'm gonna put this back on because I'm sure, like the markers, it will dry quickly. Okay. So, got a little bit in here. I'm going to take my water painter. Get into the puddle and just kind of tap, and you'll see that the color starts kind of moving. You can see it good there with the green. Do you see the technique happening? Look down here, the drips. Very cool. But you know, I have the sprayer. I don't know that everyone has a sprayer, but I tried spraying it just a little bit, and then afterwards I maneuvered. Okay, three squirts are good. Can you see it? Can you see it happening? In some places I have a lot of color, and I do want it to pool a bit, but like this, there's no color because of the spray, but I can move it back into place. No one comes out the same. And like right here, I have a whole bunch of rings around my drips. If you don't like that, just put more alcohol there and it will dissolve the alcohol ink. Nope, here comes Tony.
I know if I can taste it, you can taste that cool air, bro.
Yeah, I'm doing a video.
Ooh.
Now I'm going to do the straws. There's a story behind the straws. Okay, and eventually I'll clear out the brush because I see a little bit of green in there. So I'm going to hold this down because, as you know, it will curl up. So when I was doing the straw, can you imagine how close I have to be to move the color around? So I should have thought of this sooner. If you have a full-size straw, because it's very alcohol-y like right now, and I have a few of them. I'll put those in the box. But this is how you can maneuver the ink around. Okay, so watch this. This is cool. So it's dripping down to the edges, like right down here. See how there's a lot of alcohol? There's a dot. And because it's a high percentage of alcohol, it dries really fast. And you could always apply more color and more alcohol. So, using this straw, this is good. Using a short straw and getting my face right over that, that's bad. Some of the tutorials, they were using, probably like 10 years ago, they had a gadget that you would put your marker on and you would squirt the bulb and it would put freckles of pigment marker ink on your project. That thing works good. Or else when you have a baby, they give you that nose cleaner outer thing. That works good. This is dry. So when I look at it, there's no more shiny on it. And how's that look? maybe a little bit more color. I think I have plenty of green, so maybe a little bit more granite. And I don't want it to be too much of a background. I want it to be just a subtle, ooh, that's cool type background. So I don't know if the sprayer is a good idea or not, but that's okay. It's really random. It's abstract. It's kind of cool watching it dry. Okay, so background is done. Good job, isopropyl alcohol. Good job. These, there's not much left in there. This I need to clean out. Okay, cleaned out. Okay, so onto the card. I'm just going to let that sit off to the side. That's strange how it's so flat. Today is a good day. So, if you can, get a straw. So here are some bits and pieces. So we're done with these markers. Done with all that. There are dies for this stamp set. There are dies for many things. There is a die for this, which works with that. There's a die for the leaves. This is for the frame. Oh, did I do a frame? I like to be ready in advance. I don't think I did a frame. A die for these flowers and for this. I didn't do that. Okay. One extra step. Sorry about that. I usually like to be a little bit more ready. Okay, let's start with the flower because that's right here on top. Oh, there's some good paper. So for the flower, I'll do flower and 1 leaves. Oh, so on here, let me show you one other difference. So this flower is just flat flower opposed to this one that has the cutout piece. So let's do the fancy one. Okay, so we're going to stamp in Memento ink. And I found it's best if you do detail first. Detail. Good. Detail. Probably should see where the leaves are going to go first. And leaf detail. Okay, and now the outline. So when you put this outline on, many times it gets lost. For instance, going around here, I don't know if you could get it perfectly centered, this piece centered inside of it. Every time I did it, it didn't show. See how that side, I ran into it. This side has just a little bit of a gap. But it's okay. When you get it colored, it's just fine. Okay, here's leaf detail. And this is the same thing. When you stamp it, the outline is lost in there. You can barely see it here, a little bit there. This one you can see a little bit more, but it adds the center part. So this is good. And to do this one, let me cut this apart, and you'll know why here in just a minute. So to get the outline on this one, it's this big stamp, and right here is this part of the flower. And as the stamp nears the paper, it comes into focus a little bit better where you should be stamping. That one turned out good. Okay, so, and it doesn't matter if you color then cut or the other way around. So I'll cut those and color them. This one, I'll cut that out and color it eventually. And then this one is hand cut. So on my last video, Diane said, I wish I saw you doing a little bit of the coloring. And I mentioned that sometimes people complain if I spend too much time coloring. So today I thought I'm going to take a minute. So I have coral. I'm going to do a little bit of coloring. And I like to start with the dark first. And this part of the flower I have is just one Calypso coral, light and dark, and that's it. Sometimes I mix 4 colors in. It just depends on how ambitious you are. Coral light. Oh, isn't that cool? I like to say I'm not an orange person as I look down at my orange sweater, coloring part of the flower orange. I was just trying to go with colors opposite of what I've already used. So as I look on here, I did pretty good at stamping the black, but I wish that there was no little hints of light. So I'm going to use my marker, this is black light, to fill it in. So now it's solid. We did that when we did the Party Puffins card, because they have big solid black area. Now, and these down here need some help too. Just a little bit. Okay, since I have this going, let me just put a little bit of black to fill this in. See, I think when you look at this one compared to that one, this one here looks good. More solid, more definite. Oops, went outside the line. Okay, that's it. Those are done. So this is jade. I'm going to do the flower, leaves in jade. Oh, okay, so I have a straw story while I'm coloring this in. My straw story is we went to see family, and we took Oma out on Thursday and went to the old stomping grounds in Plymouth, California, and went to a few wineries, and then we went out to lunch at, I think it's Marlene and Glenn's Diner. They have good food. I know it's just a diner. Their menu is huge. Anyhow, so I knew I'd be doing this project because I started it right before we left on Wednesday. So I had it all sitting out, all ready to go. And I knew that I needed to get straws, thinking I would cut it into 3. Now I know better, but that's okay. And, well, hold on. I'll continue with the story. So I want to do this in a purple color. So I have razzleberry, freesia, heather, and navy. So if ever you're wondering, first of all, I have my little handy chart, which when I looked, I knew I wanted to do purples. So I was thinking maybe this could be like a darker hue, the razzleberry with the heather. But I knew I wanted it to be, oh, let me show you. This video is going to go too long. So at first, I didn't know what batik meant. So I looked it up. That's what came up for batik, which is why I colored this one with all those different blues, like how they did. Doesn't look good in the Stampin' World, but it's pretty. Then this one, I like that one. So here they're using solid colors, which is why this one is these colors. And the turquoise, I don't know where that came from. So the next one with the purples. So I knew I wanted to do purple, so I have my little chart. Definitely heather is going to be this color. That's where the orange came from in the center of it. But I was trying to come up with what would be a good color so it's not just 2 colored. Okay, long story. So on a scratch piece of paper, I took razzleberry to heather to freesia. And to me, these are outliner that does not match. Those do not go together. So then I tried it with black to heather. That's okay. No, this one is black, this one is navy. The navy is okay, the black didn't work. And then that's moonlight. So, with all that being said, razzleberry is being scratched. So I have heather, freesia, and navy. Boy, that was a long story for just saying color it. Anyhow, if ever you want to check colors, like what would look good together, just try it out on a scratch paper. That little color chart gives me at least a start, which is nice. And if you need one, if you want one, let me know. I'll send you a PDF of it, and then you could print it. Oh, and make sure to print your chart on basic white, some nice quality paper, because if you paint it on yucky paper, it's not going to be, it's not pretty. It doesn't work as good as if you, well, even when you're stamping, use basic white or vanilla, good quality paper. Okay, so that was navy light. Now I'm going to do heather dark. Probably should have a little bit more of a plan with this, but I didn't test it before. Say any 2 colors blend. So I'm going to get those to blend, at least soften up the edge. I hope this one looks good. After all that story. Oh, okay, back to the story. The straw story. So we were at this diner, and they had straws in a cup. So you could use them if you want to. Great. So I looked at those, and in my head I'm thinking, I need them. But you can't go stealing straws. But I'm one to ask the waitress, can I take a couple of straws? But I didn't. So I said, Oma, hey, I need some straws, take them. She goes, I'm not stealing straws. I'm like, yeah, I know. So then I just planned on asking the waitress, can I take a couple extra straws? And you know, really, I probably should just go out and buy some, but I don't need a whole package of them. Anyhow, so we're getting ready to go. Time was there. Guess who went to the bathroom before we left? Oma. And the reason I didn't want to take them is because I have a tiny purse this big by that, and it's jammed full of stuff. There's no room for straws in there. And Oma says, if you want straws, you need to take them. I said, I can't. My purse is too small. When she was in the bathroom, guess what I did? Yeah, I took them, stuck them in her purse. When she came back from the bathroom, she looked at me. She goes, I knew you were going to do that. And I know you did do that because the straws are all gone. So what did she do? She went over to the neighboring table, reached into their cup of straws, and they had like 10 of them in there, and took 2 of them and put them in ours so it wouldn't be so obvious. So that's my straw story. Look what I have. Straws. Yeah. Simple pleasures, you know. I think Mama has a whole bunch of straws. On the way, we went to Dutch Brothers, and I looked at their straws, and I was thinking, ooh, these are nice. But once again, that was when I still thought that 1/3 of a straw would do it. Nope. You don't have to have straws. When I was looking at everyone's videos, and they had the baby nose thing, and they had the marker spray thing, it's like, I don't have all these tools. They just wanted it for blowing the ink around. Straw will do that. They're probably smarter doing it with those gadgets because they don't get their face in the alcohol. Well, that's okay. This is coming out pretty. And don't worry, I colored the inside of the card already. When I was doing the inside of the card, both of the other ones, the samples have flowers in it. And I don't know why, but I like these leaves. Maybe it's the green and the black. It looks like money. I like money. You get to do fun things with money. So, most of the inside of this project is leaves because I like it. Fresh Freesia. So what do you think about the new ink colors? They're nice, aren't they? I'm happy that they came out with something similar to Purple Posy because I was disappointed that that didn't work out so well for us for Stampin' Up. So today in Eugene, it is like all-time records, the whole Pacific Northwest. All-time records for heat. Emma in Bremerton is going to be like 107. Somebody was saying, like here it's going to be in like 112, 113, 114. That's crazy. I think it's already like in the high 80s. And it is 10:25. Gonna be a hot one. And I'm not complaining. Okay, this one came out really pretty. That navy blue down there, it works out just fine. Probably the raspberry would have if I just tried a little harder, but that's okay. I like how this came out. Okay, let's see how is this gonna look. Drum roll. Hoo-hoo, pretty. Oh, you know, let me mention something. So over here, the blends, the color is kind of seeping out, and sometimes the black ink kind of spreads, and the blends, it's going over here. Of course, the color lifter is going to fix that in my case. I could trim it, but I do want that little white border. If ever that happens just because I spent a little bit too much time coloring and the ink pooled through all the layers of white paper, and that's why they seeped outside my little line, my little edge. So if ever that happens to you, maybe try not to color so heavy in one spot. I love my color lifter. It's magic. Got to clean that up a bit. Okay. I know I want a bit of this. I'll do it going up and down direction. Need just a little bit. Fine art ribbon, very pretty. Okay, so this is going to be on with dimensionals. Oh, I still have to cut out that frame. I can't believe I forgot that. I like to have everything ready so the video doesn't take too long. That's done. I could see the dimensional from the front of the card. Can't have that. Okay, there's my flower. Okay, and how's it looking on here? Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick this down. All these things here in my way. We did the stamping. Gonna use some bling, 3 bling per card. You boys need to swim.
That's in the shade. Sometimes it is blazing. I don't leave him in for when I'm gonna sit in and get sandwich. Get my body cooled back down. I got stuff set up to pressure wash, clean that up. Called up Tim.
Okay, so now I'm going to cut the frame with the black dye. I didn't cut paper for that yet. So this is from the Sweetly Stitched die set. Okay, so there it is, a little dirty. And if ever your plates do that, just get your adhesive remover and that will take off most of the, those are just little particles of paper from all the cuts. And most of this won't even show because it's going to have that panel over it. So, yeah, see when it's on the black, you don't see the detail compared to if it is on the white. So we need to get that on the white. This is going to go here. This is going to take just a minute to dry, so I'll do that now. It's really curly. You know, I wonder if I could do the stamp and seal right to the edge. That would be better. Then I don't have to wait for it to dry. Because this stuff is sticky. Or if you have that orange tape or tear tape would probably work good too. Because the liquid glue, I had to do just one little portion at a time and it took a while to dry. And I purposely did it right to the edge because you saw how that first one, how it was curling up. I think this is going to work. It's really sticky. So I don't want any residue on the outside edge. Okay, so now the question is, can I get this put on here? Maybe I'll do this corner. Wow, it's going to be tricky. Okay. It's already sticking. Okay, there's probably an easier way to do this. Okay, so I have that side down. So hindsight, if I had to do this again, I would put down one side of tear tape and then move on and do like maybe one side at a time, because that was really sticky. Tear tape might be better. Well, it's on. We don't have to wait for dry time. Okay, so that part is done. So now this will go on the card base, just flat, because the flower will have dimensionals. And there's two parts of the flower, so there'll be plenty of dimensionals. Ooh, the green is pretty. Okay, I have adhesive everywhere. Okay, so that part is done. My paper is sticky. So this will go here. It's going to go on in the center of the rectangle. There it goes. Okay, so that goes right there. So now to lay out the kind of the collage type card top. Oh, those are pretty together. Maybe I could go this direction, just because the first one was on that side. These could be here. And then the gold, I need a sentiment on here. So how about sending happy thoughts? So that's from right here. And this stamp set I cut all apart. This one, which uses the same die, sending happy thoughts, is right here. But this one is all one piece. Okay. Do that in black. Just a little stamp. Okay. because I know the die is going to cut out lots of area. I'll just cut this part off and line it up from the front. With this one, I use washi tape to hold that little piece in place. Isn't that cute? Just a little thing. And this is the die that cuts out all of those words. So this, how about kind of like it up here. Okay, how about like that? That looks good. Okay, so to attach the ribbon, I will put down a little bit of liquid glue. You could use your regular adhesive or liquid glue, whatever you have handy. And I'll clean up this end. Okay, and this I'm going to put down flat because there's already dimensionals. Maybe I'll do this one with dimensionals and the leaves flat. I'm going to keep the dimensionals closer to the center of the flower, just so that the leaves have room to tuck in underneath the flower. Okay. So maybe that could cover a little bit of the pretty flower. Okay, and then these could go on with glue because they'll be under the flower. See, I like those leaves. Okay, that'll take just a minute to dry because all the glue is soaking into the ribbon. Okay, and now a little bit of bling, rhinestones, gilded gems. There's 3 different sizes in here, so I'll use one of each. Okay, gems. So for the inside, I will do the words, and this barely fits on here. Hoping your day is full of love, laughter, and joy. But it's nice words. Perfect. So, thinking about all the coloring in, I'm going to do just leaves and not a flower this time. And then I'll go back and use the detail leaf around the outside edge. Okay, and here's the detail. Now it's like a puzzle getting them lined up. That one I was way off, but that will be really pretty when it's colored. One more. Okay, and then a little bit of this flower. Okay, the more I stamp, the more I have to color. Probably should stop. Okay. There it is, all done. All colored. And that turned out pretty. Okay, so there it is. I will list all the products used in paper cut sizes on my blog, which is jillibling.com. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, have a great day. Bye.